Do you want to learn the basic Spanish terms that are used in a Spanish classroom? If so, you clicked on the right video. We will be going over frases útiles and different terms that will be used in different Spanish classrooms around the world. Basically, we will first show you the Spanish term and we'll explain what it means in English. We'll also connect it to something in English so that you can remember it better.
Let's get on with the video.
Our first term is abran el libro in la página 20, por favor. 20 is also 20 in Spanish, so keep that in mind. Por favor means please and will be used throughout the different terms that we are doing. So just remember to also keep that in mind. Libro means book, and you can connect that by saying library, libro, book to try and remember this. Altogether, it means turn your page in your book to page 20 or different pages, as that is interchangeable. On to the next term. The next term that we have is levántense, por favor. Basically, what this means is stand up, please. Like Aria said earlier, por favor means please, and levántense means stand up. The way you can remember this is levántense sounds like levitating, and levitating is usually related to standing up. So that's how you can remember levántense, por favor. Now, on to our next term.
No. Our next term is siéntense, por favor, which basically means sit down, please. The way you could remember this is by looking at the ending, dense, and the beginning letter, se, which basically can connect with the fact that sit down also starts with an S. So, siéntense, por favor, the complete opposite of levántense. Thank you. On to the next word.
Next we have levanten la mano. Don't get this confused with levántense por favor, as many people do. This basically means raise your hand. And you can kind of connect this with levántense by saying levántense means stand up, and levanten means raise your hand. Levanten also ends with la mano, while levántense ends with por favor. And levanten la mano basically altogether means raise your hand. So the next term is baje la mano. Baje la mano basically means is the opposite of levante la mano because it would end with la mano. There's a way you can remember that. Baje la mano means to take your hand down. The way I remember this is by baje starts with a B, and B means to bring your hand down. So that's the term baje la mano. Now on to the next term. Action.
Our next word is escuchen con atención, which has a cognate, atención, which is a cognate for attention. This basically means listen closely, and a way you could relate back to an English translation is atención is of course attention, and attention relates back to listening. On to the next word!
Our next one is repitan después de mí. Two cognates in this is first repitan, which you can remember by repeat, and me, which is a cognate for, well, me. And repitan después de mí means repeat after me, which a teacher may use if she wants the students to remember something. So the teachers may say this to be able to help you understand something fully. So on to the next term. The next term is saquen una hoja de papel. So this basically means to take out a sheet of paper. The way you can remember this is papel is a great cognate for paper. Saquen una is like uno, dos, tres. So una you can relate to up because it means one. Saquen una hoja de papel. Papel is a really good cognate to use. That's how I remember it. Now, on to the next term.
The next word is silencio, por favor, which is silent, please. Now, students seem to talk a lot in class, and this may result in your teacher saying this like about, 100 times in like 1 hour and 30 minutes. So, silencio is a cognate for silence. Now, on to the next word.
So, the next one is miren la pizarra. I know we all want to say pizza, but that's not how we pronounce it. Basically, this all means look at the chalkboard, and the teacher might say this if they want the students to look at the board because she or he wrote something important. There's no specific way to memorize this as miren la pizarra. Maybe you can think about it like how you look at a pizza and you focus at it. So you look at the chalkboard like you look at the pizza type of thing. But otherwise, it's more of like a memorize by default thing. They memorize it for an actual like way to memorize it. But yeah, so on to the next term. Our next one is buenos dias. So buenos dias just typically sounds happy to me, more happy than sad. Buenos dias. So that's how I relate it to good morning. So buenos dias means good morning. And make sure that you remember that there's an accent on I. Our next term is buenas tardes. Don't get confused with buenas and buenos, as it's buenos dias and buenas tardes. This means good afternoon. You can think of tardes as tardy because most people get tardies in the afternoon. At least that's how I look at it. So buenas tardes. So on to the next term.
Term is ¿Cómo se dice en español? And basically this means how do you say blank in Spanish? And you would put an English word between dice and en. An example would be ¿Cómo se dice book en español? And whoever would respond with libro. What's the next word?
Next term is ¿Cómo se escribe? Which means how do you spell? The way you can remember this is by, when it says escribe, you can remember this as escribed, which connects to writing, which connects to spelling. So, when you ask somebody, ¿Cómo se escribe? Let's say their name was Camila. They'd say, se escribe, C-A-M-I-L-A. If the name was Isadora, it would be I-S-A-D-O-R-A. That's some examples of how you'd ask somebody, but they would say se escribe before answering what the spelling is. Now on to the next term. Our next one is más despacio, por favor. Por favor means please, as we repeated like at least a gazillion times. And más despacio, which means slowly, you can remember from the world phenomenon, one of the most popular songs right now, Despacito. Despacito means very slowly, so you can remember despacio, which means slowly. So, on to the next term.
The next word is Puedo ir por mi libro, which basically means can I go get my book? There is no real way of remembering this except for mi libro, which basically can kind of translate to my book, and you could assume that you're talking about yourself. So, puedo ir por translates to can I go get.
The next one we have is no sé. Now, this one's pretty common, even in English movies, because you can see some people screaming, no sé, which basically means I don't know. There isn't really a way to remember this, except for how much we've heard this in comedy, romantic films. So, but you could remember by no means no, saying I don't know. So, as Arishi said before, no sé is a very popular saying in English movies, but it's also very popular in telenovelas, dramatic series in Espanol. And another word that's dramatically used is no entiendo. Basically, it means I don't understand. A lot of people get confused with no sé, no entiendo, and what it means, but you can know something like I know 2 + 2 = 4, but why does 2 + 2 = 4? That's kind of the difference between no entiendo and no sé. So on to the next term.
Go.
Next is perdón, which basically is a cognate for pardon, and as we all know, pardon means excuse me, sort of. So, yeah, there's an accent over the O.
The next term that we have is puede repetir, por favor. This can be easily mixed with the other term, repitan después de mí. But this means, can you repeat please, not can you repeat after me. A way that you can remember the difference is because repitan después de mí has me in it, saying, can you repeat after me? But this doesn't have me in it, so you can tell that it's just, can you repeat please? And like we repeat it again and again, por favor means please. Our next and sadly last term is tengo una pregunta. Pregunta is what's known as a false cognate and can sound like pregnant to some people, but it actually means question. So tengo una pregunta means I have a question, and is usually used with the students telling a teacher that they have a question and the teacher needs to answer it. So yeah, on to. So, as you can see, those were all the terms that we have today for frases útiles. I hope you enjoyed the video and you learned from these terms. We hope that next time when you go to your Spanish classroom, you will be the expert in this and be better than all the other students.
Ciao.
Ciao.